Hey guys, welcome back to Dinner Made Easy with Dina, and today we are going to be finishing up on those holiday leftovers. So I'm going to show you a great quick and easy idea that you can use to either have dinner tonight, or you can freeze it and have it when you're not so tired of Thanksgiving dinner. So stay with me, we're going to get that going right now. Okay, so as you can see, I do have some leftovers sitting here out on the counter. And first we've got some leftover turkey that we're gonna chop up just a little bit, give it a nice rough chop. We've got some leftover gravy, an onion, leftover mashed potatoes, a couple of eggs, and of course our stuffing. So we're gonna get going on that right now. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna get started on is we are going to take this turkey, and we've got some pretty big chunks in here, so we're just gonna run a quick knife through some of those larger chunks. And we've got some small ones as well. So these small pieces are just fine. And you can make it however you want to. You can chop it as fine as you want, or don't chop it at all. But I prefer to just get like one bite's worth at a time rather than fighting my turkey. Okay, so we're just giving this a real quick rough chop, and into our dish it goes. Now a little tip here is my baking dish. I would usually use cooking spray, but I don't have any. So I'm gonna take some olive oil, I'm gonna pour it into the dish, and then I'm just gonna take a paper towel and run it all inside my dish. That way it'll make it for a bit easier cleanup for me. Okay, let's just set that aside. Now into our casserole dish goes our turkey. You could do this with ham too, I suppose, but we have mostly turkey leftovers, so that's why we're gonna do just the turkey. And just enough to cover the bottom. Well, I guess I have about an inch worth in here so you can see how much is in there. Depending on how much you have left over and how much you really wanna dig into that. Okay, so next I'm gonna take an onion. I'm just going to slice the ends off real quick. And of course, you don't need this whole onion. I guess you could if you want, but that would be very onion forward. So we're just not going to do that. We're going to just take the onion, we're going to peel part of that off. I'm probably only going to put about a third of the onion into the next step. Alrighty. Now we're just going to try and cut that as thin as we can. And then what we're going to do with the onion, we are going to throw that in with our potatoes. That's probably good. Okay, so here's our leftover potatoes, and we have about 3 cups of leftover potatoes here and about 3 cups of stuffing. So we may or may not need it all, but what we don't need, we'll just fix it into another dish if we need to, so that's okay. Now you could freeze your leftover mashed potatoes if you want to, but I thought this casserole would be really good. And I'm just going to pop it into the oven today, so I'll be able to show you what it looks like when it comes out. What I'm doing is I'm just stirring in the onion. I'm kind of breaking up those potatoes a little bit. Then I'm going to add 2 eggs. And the eggs are going to kind of help it stick together and give it a nice shiny look over the top. There we go. And I wanted to do this part before we put the stuffing in, just so that it's incorporated really well and it's had a minute to just kind of sit. Also, if you've seasoned your food for Thanksgiving, which I have, potatoes and everything, then I'm not going to add any additional seasoning to this. We don't want to over salt it. We probably had a little too much salt over the holidays anyway, so we're going to avoid over salting. And you know, You can salt and pepper it on the table if you really need to, but it's much easier to leave it out than to overdo it, and then nobody wants to eat it, so let's not do that. Okay, so 3 cups of potatoes, 2 eggs, and then I put in about 1/3, maybe 2/3 of a half of a large onion, or you could put a small onion if you like, just like that. So it's got a nice consistency to go right over the top of our dish. Okay, so let's set that aside. All right, now that we've got that, we're gonna go ahead and put in our stuffing. And I'm just gonna put the whole amount, I think, into the dish here. And just kind of try to lay that as flat as I can. I'm probably overdoing it like I usually do. There we go. Now, before we get going on those mashed potatoes, we are going to put I'm not quite sure how many scoops of this gravy that I made. I'm gonna just kind of line it right over the top. This is really going to kick that casserole up a notch for you. And I don't know about you guys, but I love Thanksgiving leftovers. And especially when you do this. So I think that's about 5 scoops of gravy over the top. Just like that, okay? Then on top of that goes our potatoes. So I'm just going to kind of scoop them out. And I did preheat my oven to 350, just so you know. I always try to remember to do that before you get started on your recipe. And let's get the rest of those potatoes on there. It looks like a good amount, so I think we're gonna be just fine with this. I usually will put like a baking sheet, put this on a baking sheet. That way I don't make a big fat mess in the bottom of the oven. Oh, I hate that. No one likes to clean the oven after Thanksgiving, so you gotta try real hard not to make a big mess out of things. Okay. Now, if you're a cheese lover, this is the perfect time to put a little Parmesan cheese over the top, but I'm gonna just leave that out. And we're gonna put this in the oven at 350, I'd say for about 30 minutes until everything is nice and crispy golden brown, and heat it all the way through. Stay with me and we're gonna bring that out of the oven for you. Hey guys, if you're enjoying these videos, I know I ask every time, but I just want to remind you, if you could just give me a thumbs up, maybe leave me a comment, and if you haven't subscribed yet, I'd really appreciate it if you did. Thanks again for your time, and we're going to get right back on that video again. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do a taste test on this. It smells delicious. I cannot wait to try it. So let me get a spoon out so we can dig into that. I'm just gonna try to get a little piece out of here. Let me show you what I'm doing. This smells absolutely delicious. We are going to give that a nice little taste test. Oh. Okay, here we go. It's super hot, so I'm going to try real hard not to burn my mouth completely out. Oh. And I think I got just the right amount of gravy. You could also, when this is done, cranberries. Cranberry sauce, cranberries, whichever you like, would be amazing on this as well. This is just as good as the first time around. Gotta give this a try, guys. Great way to use up that Thanksgiving turkey. Like I said, you can either put it in the oven or you can put it together, cover it with saran wrap really well, and then cover it again with foil. Stick it in your freezer. Should be fine in there for up to 3 months. And then you're just gonna bring it out, remove that saran, and then cover it again with some aluminum foil. Stick it in the oven at 375. Keep your eye on it. It's probably going to take about an hour and 20 minutes or so at least, but it will come out just as good as this. All right, guys, have a great one. We'll see you next time around. Bye now.